Hey, welcome to Subbacultcha, and we have a fantastic lineup of words and music for Subbacultcha, a night of words and music tonight. We have live music from Aliens in Caves and Luna Juniper. We have readings from David Toms, Patrick Holloway, Demi Anter, Sasha Terfu, Molly Toomey, and possibly also one more person who may be joining us at some stage during the night. Yes, so Subbacultcha was originally a few years back a night in Waterford City where we would host, similar to tonight, spoken word performers, musicians, sometimes a little bit of comedy, even a burlesque show at one stage. And we won't have burlesque tonight. Settle down now, Patrick. But we're gone online now, so we're taking it national. Whereas we'll still be having plenty of local Waterford acts, but we're also taking it national and even international tonight because we're covering London and Norway as well. So in the olden days of Subbacultcha, I would play a tune to kick the night off. So I'm going to do that tonight. And this is an original song, and it's called Stargazing. Asked what you were doing tonight. You said you were outside, stargazing at skies. When you're not here, it's hard to imagine you are out there somewhere, your body real against the damp grass. Same as if I could feel that. And I'm jealous of the stars when you stare at them. I'm jealous of the stars when you stare at them. Jealous of the stars and where you are. I'd be lucky to see what you saw, or be what you saw. But that was how I lost you, it seems. I lost your hand when your eyes turned from green to brown, and I didn't see. I wasn't your breath, your hands, or your stare. You weren't mine, you were just there. Oh, that's how it seemed to me. But that's me. And I'm jealous of the stars when you stare at them. Jealous of the stars when you stare at them. Jealous of the stars and where you are. Jealous of the stars when you stare at them. Jealous of the stars when you stare at them. Jealous of the stars and where you are. And we're off. Thank you, lads. Yeah, okay, I'm going to try get this properly done. No. There you go. Lovely. Okay, we're going to get straight stuck into it. Molly Toomey is our first reader. Molly has been published in Poetry Ireland Review, Banshee, The Irish Times, Cronogue, Dyslexia, Cypher's The Stinging Fly. It would probably be easier if I said the places she wasn't published. And she has won the Poetry Column Poetry Prize, the Waterford Poetry Prize, the Evan Boland Mentorship Award, and was chosen for Poetry Ireland's Introductions series. She runs an online international poetry event, Just to Say, sponsored by Jassar Press, which I was lucky to catch last week, and it's fabulous. You should check it out. Was recently awarded an Arts Council Literature Bursary, and her debut collection will be published in May 2022 with the Gallery Press, which is very exciting stuff. And of course, on top of all of that, Molly is originally from Waterford, but I believe has now gained refugee status in Cork. Is that
right? Yeah, I am. Yes, I'm from Lismore. Thank you so much, Derek. Thank you so much. Usually it's really like embarrassing when people read your bio, but you made it very funny. So it was lovely. Thank you.
Okay, take it away.
Okay, so it is absolutely wonderful to be here. I'm going to start off with a series. So I wrote series during the repeal of the Eighth Amendment, when the idea of bodily autonomy and mothers, daughters was very much to the fore in Ireland. So my poem, and it's also based off the mythological goddess series. So series. I was 16 when I felt you kick. Tried hangers, scalding water, the spoke of a bicycle wheel. You shrieked, howled, wept in that tooth-marked cot with mould like a claw. I told mothers at the playground I was a sitter. Postman that my husband would be back later. At dusk, I'd play the video of your birth in reverse, blood and afterbirth filling me back up. Once I left you on the steps of the church, ran back 3 minutes later, convinced there were bruises like berries squished under your skin. I wanted some physical thing to hate myself for. At 12, you pierced your navel with a safety pin. My fingers itched to wring your throat, but wiped that seed of blood. Now, as I got your room for drugs, I find job specs, CVs, a photo on your dresser of us on the swings, me pushing you away and pulling you back in. Cool. Thank you so much for listening. This poem that I'm going to read now is called Crumbling, and it is about the temporary accommodation crisis in Ireland. So I wrote it when I was a receptionist, but I'm not the evil receptionist in the poem. Just that at the time, you know, I was coming across a lot of people that were coming to stay with us, and they were staying because they had nowhere to live. So it was, yeah, it was just heartbreaking. So Crumbling. The receptionist glares at Anya's streak of snot on your sleeve. You get no welcome pack, no map of the city. Her eyes roll at your council bag of 50s. She counts them 3 times, swipes her counterfeit pen. Anya is dragging you now. Wants her animal crackers in the bottom of the case that holds your life. She is crying, stomping, shrieking. You can't sign the document, Jesus Christ. The receptionist thinks you can't handle your child. You yell at her, plead with her. She doesn't know what it's like to change a nappy on the side of the road, to eat dry Rice Krispies for lunch, to spit blood, because you can't afford a toothbrush. All you want is a table and chairs so Anya can dip crunchy soldiers in boiled eggs, heaters to hang damp socks on, and a shower to clean city grease off your skin, a bed with fresh linen, to sleep and sleep until you can't remember the woman who held her purse a little tighter, the guard who kicked you off the steps of the church, this receptionist, tush, tush, tushing. Cool, thanks very much for listening. And I'm going to read this one now. I don't know, I'll just do maybe one more, like, I don't know, time-wise, I think that's cool. Derek, I'm going to assume that's cool. Yeah, cool. 21 questions. This was recently published in the Irish Times, which I was delighted about. Yeah, fairly class. Anyway, just a little glow there now. Yeah, that's just called nervousness. Okay, so 21 questions. Have you ever lied to me, I ask? You reply that on our 5th date, you said a rock hit the wheel, but it was a chaffinch. You didn't turn and hand me that small flame of news, but drove into the mango and gunpowder sunset. Afraid I'd make you pull up to check that there were no quavers stuck in its throat, that if its pulse didn't react to my fingers tap dancing on its keel bone, I'd want to bury it under heather and moss. You thought I'd make you pray every time we drove from Lismore to Ballyknoe, that our date would become not the boardwalk chips and the anemone, but broken wings and blood-wet feathers. I think of your ex in North Carolina, how she might have perched and looked out to raised earth, waiting for you with your newly shaved beard, hand luggage of notebooks and craft beer, only for the fast and brutal machine of my heart to catch you off guard. Cool. So thanks very much for listening. It's been
Fantastic, Molly. Well done.
So nice to be here. Thank you.
Tell us quick.
Oh yeah.
Before we move on, what I'm going to ask this question of everyone tonight. What one thing are you obsessed with at this moment in time, Molly?
I'm obsessed with Leela Shetty. I'll throw the link in the chat. So she's a poet, and I think she's just amazing. I met her through my event on the Wednesday, and I think her work is just brilliant. And I think everyone should know her work. I think she's amazing.
Leila, is that it? Leila Chatty?
Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. And when is the next, just to say?
It's the 2nd of March with Thomas McCarthy and Joseph Miller.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
Okay, and moving swiftly on. We're going to have another reading now, this time from Patrick Holloway, who's drinking the water there to pretend that he's not having the... Sorry, let me just get this going again. Why have I got everyone up here now? Sorry, let's try that once more. Okay, this is just going insane on me now here. Oh, we're back to Molly again. Okay, let's just stick with gallery for the moment. Okay, Patrick Holloway is a writer of stories and poems. He has been published by The Moth, Stinging Fly, Irish Times, Southword, Carve, Poetry Ireland Review, amongst others. He won the Molly Keane Creative Writing Award and the Allingham Fiction Prize last year. A busy, busy year. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Derek. Thank you very much. I equally feel awkward as well, Molly, when it's read. I'm kind of like, thank you. I was going to read more poems, but after Molly, I hate and gutted I'm reading after her because her poetry is too good. So I'm going to start with a piece of flash fiction. I wrote it actually a teenager went missing many, many years ago in my village, and his car went missing as well. And he was never found until I think last year, just the year before, last year. And the car was actually right in the harbour where we live, and it was never found. And it was just kind of, this was in my head for ages, and this is what came out of it, I suppose. So it's called 15C 47662. 1. Your teeth are smudged blueberry. You hold one in between finger and thumb, examining it as if it were a world. You are the same age as me, but I feel like you have been here before. Your foot flirts with my leg under the table. It is hard to be so alive sometimes, trying to take in too much. You say something and I miss it, lost to unformed futures. Your leg pulls away. You drop the blueberry to the ground and sigh. I can see the air and something else leave your exaggerated mouth, something earthy. 2. In the moments after, your fingers are too soft, tracing veins up and down my arm. There is a rare silence to you, and I think you are happy. The thought alone speeds everything up while slowing everything down. There are 100 of you, and only now do they move in unison, kicking 200 perfect feet free from the blanket. All those mouths echoing, so much breath against my neck. 3. Your teeth grind, feet tapping the concrete as your arms swing by your side, pupils the size of blueberries. The music flees from the club, and whatever we left is something already altogether different. You hold the wall and vomit splatters against your bare legs. I look down and there are so many shadows fighting for the space on the grey stage of memory. 4. You bite my lip too hard and draw blood. You spit it out and say sorry and shrug as if you are not sorry. You crumple up like a sweet wrapper. Fold it into yourself, you cry, then scream when I try to get closer. A few crimson drops drip from me as I lean down and stain the carpet floor. 5. I call you, drive to the apartment you rent, call your mum. The day is enveloped in the night and opens out above me. You are gone and I tell everyone you will be back. Inside of me, there are only chambers I cannot come out from, each one a morsel of time with you. 6. A year passes. 7, 15 more. 8. When they find your car, it is because a part of the registration is still visible at the bottom of the tide, the sepulchre of silt. The smell of the car comes back to me, not the color or anything else, just the smell of pine that used to remind me of Corribini Woods and how frightened I'd be on school trips there, or looking out at the trees under the moon, knowing people were hanged there back in the war. We walked there once and I watched how your head bent so far back to take in the sheer height of the oak, the birch, the ash. 9. They find no remains for the first few days. I do not talk about it much, but people text me, people I haven't spoken to in so long. My son and daughter ask me what is wrong, and I say I'm just tired, which is the best truth of a lie I can muster. Inside of me, acute edges try to fit themselves into something the shape of your eyes. At night, I cannot look at my wife. 10. A tooth, a molar, a broad surface for grinding, for breaking things down that doesn't break down. I think it must be the one from the top right of your mouth, the only one that didn't have ugly copper fillings. 11. All that time down there in the depths of yourself. 12. You were gone longer than I knew you. 13. I see you smile now, moving like a silk scarf falling from the pier. I see it ripple the surface, imbibing all the air and salt and softly drowning beautifully. Thanks. Sorry for my stupid cough as well. It's been just annoying me for the last week and won't go away. I don't know if I have more time, but I'm going to read a poem or two, if that's okay.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay. So I have this poem that is one of the many 1,000 poems I wrote when my first daughter was born. My second daughter didn't get as many poems, but this one is one of the better ones I found. And it's called, There is Nothing More Beautiful That Language Can Offer. Her breath a herald, my hand slippery with sweat in hers as she squeezes everything inside out. Hot scream, still wet from her living you are carefully handed over with gummy emerald eyes. Little bird, chapped red folds of skin, your tongue flicking inside your newborn mouth. Endless gums gather endless screams. I hold you to my chest. I no longer sleep but nap in between fleeting moments of silence. I hide your eyes from the light as I change you. Your twig legs kick. The dummy falls from your mouth and you overwhelm the world with your yowl. My phone rings incongruously and her voice is thick. It comes from a place I have not been yet. She rolled off the bed. Come home, quick. You shape your lips around English and Portuguese, thudding the fat, thick tongue against palates to create new sound. On my lap, you soothe my nose and say, I love you too much. And I say, my girl, and you say, my daddy, and I think there is nothing more beautiful that language can offer. A terror thunders inside of me when twilight is at its darkest. I see you falling downstairs, a crack I feel in my bones as your head swirls sanguine, clotting your thin blonde hair crimson. That moment I turn in the supermarket and you are lost and everyone obscures into ghostly shapes with no eyes. How can love do this? And how can I live forever with this inside of me? It is too hot and you are falling into sleep in my arms, sticky from the heaviness in the air. I see it, the exact moment you fall into the seamlessly ceaselessness of dreaming. If I had only a moment to anchor me to this terrain, it would be this. Your weight in my arms, the mass of you that holds all of my love, sticky and tangled, the flesh of what it is to live. Thanks.
Wonderful,
Thanks.
Patrick. Wonderful. Now you better get working
Thanks
on
a
some songs for the first second child now, in fairness.
Jesus Christ, you don't hear me song. Yeah, I was like, come on now, Derek.
So, Patrick, what are you obsessed with at the moment?
I forgot to think.
Have I thrown you on the spot?
I forgot, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't have time to be obsessed with anything.
You're obsessed with getting the kids to bed.
Yes, to be fair, I have reread Louise Kennedy's short story collection, The End of the World is a Cul-de-sac, and I am dying to read her new novel, Trespasses. I think that is something I'm kind of obsessed with. That's all I can think of. Really, that's how boring my life is at the moment.
Louise is fantastic, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Thanks, Patrick. Sorry. As Sasha will tell everyone, these kind of things are to be expected at a subculture night. It wouldn't be a subculture night if things weren't going a little bit awry. Okay, we're going to have some live music. Luna Juniper is a female-fronted alternative rock band guaranteed to get you moving and grooving, and I can attest to that as a fact. The band's songs are fiercely fun and feminist and ooze an energetic community spirit. They are currently in the recording process for their debut single, Woman, which I heard a little teaser of, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's going to be amazing. Okay, guys, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Thank you, Derek.
Stand up now. One, two.
You came to my house, stayed for a while. After we drank, I broke out the wine. You came to my house, you slept on the sofa. I wanted your mouth, I wanted you closer. You stayed
Thank you.
Fantastic, lads. Well done. We're going to be coming back to you for another song in a few minutes, so I'm going to save asking you what your favorite obsession of the moment is. You can decide between you. It could be a group decision if you like. Have a think about it for a while. Stunning indeed, says Molly, and that it is indeed. Okay, we're going to have another reading now. Demi Anter is a poet and performer from the Californian desert. Her writing has appeared in Magma, Banshee and Ropes, among others, and has aired on BBC Radio London in 2019. She was a featured performer at Glastonbury Electric Picnic, the Scottish Storytelling Centre, and Poetry Ireland. And of course, I'm reading a little bit of an older bio, which says she lives in Berlin, but she doesn't anymore. So tonight she's in London. Hello, Demi.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Super nice to hear everyone reading so far. Yeah, it's very nice to get to do something again finally. I think I've been out of the poetry game a bit long since moving. So one thing I guess is also not in this bio, I also have a book coming out, my first collection, very, very soon. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's with Write Bloody UK. It will be out in April, and I wanted to read a few poems from there because I finally have sent in the manuscript very recently. So it's quite exciting. And the book has a lot to do with my time living in Berlin. I was there for 5 years. And I'm missing it a lot, actually. But I was thinking, you know, when you really love something, it's also allowed to take the piss out of it. And actually, it's really necessary sometimes. So there's quite a lot of that in the book as well. And this is a poem which fits that theme. It's called If God Were German. Yes, well, there's a certain order to things. You're born, you learn, and when you're old enough, you contribute to the state, have a family. And one day, if you're very lucky, you get a pension and a Schrebergarten. If you're very, very lucky, your kids bring you to Mallorca. And one day you die, surrounded by those you cared for, die in peace, knowing you did everything correctly. You never crossed a red ample, never walked in the bike lane. You were angemeldet, never sublet without permission or rode the U-Bahn without a ticket. Your conversations couldn't be heard by strangers. Your music never disturbed the neighbors. You felt appropriate shame to be German, learned enough English to travel, met enough Brits and US Americans to feel superior. You never elected a fascist or forgot to separate compost from plastic, clear glass from green, kept the vestibule clean, never dared use someone else's bins or leave shoes in the stairwell, never tried to pet other people's dogs. You got geimpft when they called for your age bracket. When he took a leftover dose 1 month ahead of schedule, you agreed it made sense for Halle's 64-year-old mayor to resign. You always paid cash, never cut the line, and when your heart peters out, your lungs seize, you think, if God were German, dying would be easy. A stamped formula, a green light. Even so, life doesn't feel too short. You've always been on time. Thank you. Yes, so now on to something more fun, sentimental. Fundamental, I was going to say, not fundamental, sentimental. This is actually quite a new poem. I'm sure some of you know Kevin Higgins. I wrote this actually in his workshop last summer, and a part of this poem actually became the title for the collection, which is called Small Machine. Yes, okay. Fog had entered the home. Rain for 10 days and bread for one. Croissant and brötchen, toast, breastbone as I crest the stairs. I woke, the cat's white toes nestled in my rib cage. Through stained glass, my landlord sweeps leaves into piles, his hearing aid glinting. A honeybee thrums against glass, small machine, summoning thunder. And I am in a dream where Sam's cheek is pressed against my thigh. But there in time to open the window, scold the cat, gather in my arms the rolling quiet of her fur. Sometimes I think I dreamt it all, these years, the rain and the men and the bread from the corner shop, the cat who rests her chin on my chest each morning, waiting for my eyes to crescent open. The bees released, ungrateful, never bothering with goodbyes. Thank you. Depending how much time, I'll read this one, and this might be the last piece. It's a little bit longer, but if there's more time, I can always read something else. But this is called 29. And within the book, if you should see it someday, it's quite nice because I have another poem called 26, which I wrote when I was 26 and dealing with quite a difficult year. And I decided I needed sort of a bookend to this piece, and this was written in last year before I left Berlin. So it reflects those changes over those few years somewhat. 29. And now I am landing for the last time. From above, roads look like rivers in pitch. Drivers swim through forests via red and white light streams towards families, lovers, children. In the city I called home for 5 years. And now I am kissing goodbye. The summer we spent swimming, our WhatsApp group pinging 60 times every hot Sunday for Teufelsee, Lenga, and Plotzi. And now I am Kat's sunburned cheeks as she tells me to go meet another actor. And now I am sore and full of myself. He played Romeo, baguette emoji, sweat emoji. And now I am eking out spring on the bench with Sam, shivering, clutching coffees until we must embrace over bicycles. Bye. And now I'm fine on my own. I learned that in the checkout line at Edeka. And now I hardly cry at all. In fact, I'm trying to remember how. And now I am landing in snow. The taxi driver swims us into the bloodstream, Berlin's heart flashing red, white. I press my face into the frozen glass until it fogs. One sentence I can muster. Schnee gefällt mir. I want to kiss her cheeks, that girl, 24 and alone with just a suitcase of bad German. She should have cried, sighed instead, and strained to see her new city through the flurries. There it was, rising, glittering from the dark. And now we've gone till we return. And now we're fine. Thank you, thank you.
You got one more first before we
Sure, yeah. This is maybe a little bit funnier. Okay. I have a very big David Bowie obsession, so he comes up a lot in the book. And this is about a guy I slept with who looked a lot like David Bowie. Here we go. David Bowie says, whoa. Today he is nice. The cup is small, but he's hand cranked the coffee, and isn't that swell? I can't be bothered with mocha pots, but most sexy men in the city have them, and he is tall, lean, with the same smirking mouth and high cheekbones as David Bowie, and David Bowie was sexy. I savor the weight of dusky sheets, the mattress inches above the floor on pallets, the lushness of contact, guessing correctly that this will be the last time. I will recall whiskey and piano keys banging on at 4 a.m. To hell with his 6 flatmates. I never met them anyway. And honest to God candlelight flickering down the watery taper, wisdom melting. We don't love each other. The truth is we barely speak. But this morning from bed, Bowie and I scream, whoa, as past his window, a little squirrel leaps between oaks, slides down the branch, and just catches on. We watch open-mouthed this flyer defy death. Humbled and earthbound, we are prepared only to fall into the open earth of each other. It's late November. I don't know what he'll remember.
What
Thanks.
a killer closing couplet that was. Wonderful.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for having
Brilliant.
me. And oh, you wanted to ask something
Yes,
I'm obsessed
yes,
with.
Jemmy, what are you obsessed with at the moment?
Okay, I'm going to be cheeky and say 2 things, a deep
Okay.
thing and a very silly thing. The deep thing is the book Berlin, Imagine a City by Rory McLean. I think it's a beautiful book, but if you're interested at all in history and Berlin, I think it's the one. It's really fantastic. And the silly thing is the cover of the song Yummy, Yummy, Yummy by the flamenco duo Baccara.
I haven't heard this, but I'm immediately intrigued.
It's amazing and it will make you feel good. I listen to it every day.
Yummy, Yummy, Yummy by who?
By Baccara.
Oh, there it is. Patrick's got it.
Yeah, I will.
He's a big
I will
fan.
share a link.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Demi.
Thank you, Derek. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, we're going to move on to some music. More music. Tara Kennedy, also known as Aliens in Caves, is a singer-songwriter from Waterford. They have 2 EPs on all streaming platforms and are currently working on an album. They also love making soup.
I never take my bio seriously. It's not
You're right to. You're right to. Okay, take it away, Tara.
Hello everyone. So as Derek mentioned, I am working on an album at the moment. So I'm actually going to the studio next week, and this is the song that I will be recording. So the working title is Boy Scouts. I might think of something else in the near future, but Boy Scouts. Penny for your thoughts, but a safe for your mind. I watched you by the wall, but pouring out your eyes. And if you ever realize that I'm for you, I give you all my time. I called to your friends and they told me about him. 6'2" and blind, 'cause I'm about to kill. I'll leave this all behind to sit on my own throne. Nice guys finish last, and I've been crowned the most. You're tearing me apart, and I'm surrendering my broken heart. If you only knew, oh God, all the things I would do to you. I heard about your father, now looking very good. A tummy full of whiskey, a bullet full of blood. And I'm riddled with sympathy, you're looking very cool. I drained my heart out for you, I'd let you keep the pool. Keep the pool. You're tearing me apart, and I'm surrendering my broken heart. You only knew, oh God, all the things I would do to you. You're tearing me apart, and I'm surrendering my broken heart. Only if you only knew, God, all the things I would do to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow, I can see why you're recording that one. That's fantastic.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant. And this will be a release. There'll be video, the whole
Oh,
work?
I'm Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'll do the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely, and why not? That song deserves it. That's amazing. Well done, Tara. Quickly then, what are you obsessed with at the moment? We are going to be coming back to you for another song, but just tell me now what you're obsessed with.
There's this, she does a podcast and she's a YouTuber as well. She's more of like an influencer. Her name's Keelan Moncrief. She's from Dublin herself. And she does like those kind of like vloggy videos, but she also talks a lot about like really important issues like fat phobia and like the era of the internet where like everything was about like anorexia and stuff, which I find absolutely incredible. But she just found out that she was pregnant, so my heart is like going 90. So Keelan Moncrief, I forget her podcast's name, but she's key_, I'll put that in the chat, on Instagram, and she has her podcast in her bio, and she's just incredible. I've been watching her like every single day. So
brilliant. Well, that's what you're obsessed with. That's what we'll have to hear. All right. Thanks, Tara. Now, how do I get the... Sorry, I just need to take it. There we go. Okay, next up. Here she is. Recently announced as the Poet Laureate for Wexford, Sacha Turfu is one of the most important figures in Ireland's spoken word community. With her knowledge, eloquence, and passion, she aims to narrate life's experiences and encourage her audience to reflect upon themselves and their decisions. Using her work as a form of activism, her poetry draws attention to the voices that should be heard and issues that need to be addressed, be it racism and homophobia of her youth in a small rural town, or larger issues such as climate change and the Black Lives Matter movement. Hello, Sacha.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and
I keep
clear.
asking, can you hear me?
Take it away.
So yeah, my name is Sasha. I'm a poet. I'm gonna perform 3 different pieces tonight. They're all very different from each other, and they all have kind of like a place in my heart for different reasons. So the first piece that I'm gonna perform kind of speaks for itself, and the first line is the title of the poem, so I'm not going to give it away, but I'll just get into it. An ode to the Black boy whose body went viral. Did they ask you what your name was when they rode in on horsepower, all guns ablazing? Did they tell you who they were before they stripped you of your name and bound what was left of you? When they morphed your body into a goalpost, did they say which team they were playing for? Did they even tell you that this is a game and you lost before it even started? It is better to let you think you had a chance. It's more interesting that way. Did they tell you that you didn't have a chance? You can't run and you can't hide, but you can try. That is the thrill of the hunt. It is not the life leaving the gazelle, but it is savoring it as it does so. They have been training for this. They have been trained for this. Did they warn your family? Did they advise them the sum of the branches on their tree were hanging too low, perfect height to reach? You could almost hear the rustling of leaves. You could almost hear the shuffling of body bags. Did they tell you what you did? Were you aware of your offense? Too much black, all in the light of day. How audacious of you. The impertinence of melanin trying to get by. Who do you think you are? Did they tell you who you were? Did they tell you what they stole from you? How they plucked your blood from the veins of Mother Africa, wrapped you in brown cloth and hid you from the outside, sipped from china cups and complained about the thickness of your spirit, complained about the thickness of your breath? Did they ask if you could breathe? Did they ask if you wanted to anymore? Did they tell you how delicate you were when they tried to break you like a horse, snap you like a branch, crack you open like the night and smash you like china plates? Do you think that they knew you were human? Do you think they ever saw you as such? Can you hear us now? How we call out for you, how we mourn for you, how we riot for you. Have you met the others? What do they say? Tell them. We will rebuke the beast among the reeds, the herd of bulls rummaging among the calves of nations, the beast. He brings silver bars, and we delight in war. Thank you. It's really awkward because I can see everyone, but nobody can see that I can see everyone. So that was a piece. Obviously, it was not only dedicated to George Floyd, but all of the young Black men and women who have lost their lives in what is now being called the fight for equality, which I have many thoughts on. But obviously that's something that impacts me greatly, living my life as I am mixed race. I do identify with Black, so it's something that I write about a lot. And the next poem that I'm going to read, sorry, I actually have 3 more, so I have four in total, my bad. So the next poem that I'm actually going to read is called Ege, and it's essentially about getting your hair done. And I think that a lot of people can kind of identify with this in some way, even if you're not of Afro-Caribbean descent, simply because there's something almost therapeutic about sitting in a salon or sitting in somebody's lap and they're doing their hair. Like, it's almost kind of like the secrets start to spill from your lips and you're like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like, you're only touching my scalp, like this shouldn't be happening. But it's essentially about that. Auntie stretches curls across her palms and examines them like creases of skin. I can see you are broken, not taken care of. With each wince and tug, she divides my family tree, reading my scalp like tea leaves. She massages magic into my shattered ends and fixes them flat to my head. You are lost, she chuckles. She handles each braid a newborn babe. Each strand of hair is proof of a higher power, an omnipotent God. In some lands, Auntie is known for her voodoo, the breath of her hips luring any man to his knees, how the trick of her tongue detects even the widest of lies, drawing them out like tarot cards. Auntie is known for her ability to read you and reap you all in one look. It has been passed down to her from her mother, and her mother's mother taught her the craft. Oh, so taints her veins, incantation stewing with each kiss of her teeth and smack of her lips. But today she is no witch, nor does she bend to Olaroon today when she speaks her pigeon cracks with exhaustion. She is not bringing love potions or blessing newborns. Today she is weaving her stories through my ancestry. She speaks of how she watched the fall of Kemet, how she has seen men grovel for their lives and women submit to their own demise. Today, Auntie will serve bowls of igusi soup to men that do not belong to her and their company. Babe on back, she counsels my dry and damaged, taming my on edge and my heightened. She is a soothsayer, soothing lies and false pretense. She cradles my ego and lulls it to sleep. Auntie is known for her power, for her wisdom and her worrisome, her gifted hands that heal the tired and her bellied laugh that fills entire churches. Auntie works the night shift at the hospital, distributing small blue pills and small white cups. She deals sprays of deodorant and cola-flavored lollipops to young drunk women in nightclub bathrooms and sews strands of stress together to frame delicate egos. Today, Auntie is doing what she knows best. She is making something out of nothing. Thank you. I'm just going to take a drink. Sorry, it's kind of like ASMR. Perfect. So I have 2 more pieces left. The next one is called Girlhood, and I kind of wrote this. It was a poem that I wrote. I was like kind of thinking about like being a girl, being a teenage. I'm not a teenage girl. That was a long time ago, but I was thinking about what it was like being a teenage girl and kind of my progression into womanhood, I suppose you could say, and kind of how we look at the teenage girls almost like at the incarnation of hell. Like it's weird, and like the hatred that teenage girls have to go through is just insane. So this is kind of like an ode to teenage. That sounds really weird, but it's basically called Girlhood. Do you punch like a girl? Do your knuckles raise in front of a trembling voice, ready to start and always prepared to finish? Have you felt your fists clench in self-defense, pushing your fear deep into your gut? Do you run like a girl? Do you hunt ambition and chase dreams along Olympic tracks? Do you sprint on fractured feet and thank the gods you did more than walk? Have your ankles swollen from your own determination and begged for you to rest? Do you cry like a girl? Your spirit and ocean of love and sorrow, do you mourn the parts of yourself you never knew and pray who you become will be just as magnificent as their memory? Do you craft like a girl? Daggers and blades fashioned from household keys, bicycle locks gripped with intensity. Do you wear your creativity like a badge, pinned tightly next to your heart? Does it protect you from the shadows that haunt alleyways and from those hiding behind them? Do you love like a girl? Unconditionally, unapologetically, unafraid? Do you hide pieces of yourself in every kiss and caress? Do you enter dominion and submission all at once? Do you wrap your body around love, like how love wraps itself around you? Do you sing like a girl? Roaring at the top of your lungs, each syllable enunciated with raw passion. Can you feel it in your chest? Do your feet dance with the tempo and your entire body submit to lyric? Are you plagued with dance? Do you laugh like a girl? Does your belly bloat with chuckles while your hands dance in sequence? Have you hid your ugly, your raw? Have you replaced your organic with modified genetics, but still mean every giggle and gaggle as though it were untouched? Do you age like a girl? Has the world passed you by as quickly as it took you to become an adult, forced to woman in a world that doesn't want you? Are you forgotten by the time you can pronounce your own name, but still allow it to ring in their ears? You are irreplaceable, more than the dust of a trophy. Womanhood is not flesh and blood, but the strength polished from weakness. How the heart beats like a drum underwater, how lungs squelch with combat. Womanhood is a duel to the death. It is a dance between friend and foe in front of a mirror that often forgets to reflect its own bravery. Thank you. The last one that I am going to read is called Hope. And this was actually a commission piece that I ended up really liking. And usually like with commission pieces, like you liking someone and you don't, but this one I actually really ended up liking. And it's basically called Hope, and it's what hope means to different people. And I feel like hope is a very personal thing. So it can look like, it can take many shapes and many forms. Hope is the feeling you get when your mom says maybe. It is the look on her face when you forget to ask the second time. Hope is the rhythm of your chest before a job interview, or the exasperated lungs when you are late for the bus that gets you there. It is the chug of cold coffee and the awkward laugh on a first date. It is the smell of a lover's neck, the warmth as they hold you past sunrise. Hope is the migration south of the equator and the return 5 days later. It is the passing of time spent al fresco, or idly indulging in life's indifferences. Hope is the ring of a doorbell after an 18-month deployment, and the home-cooked meal you have the first night home. It's the smirk on the doctor's face and the worse before the better. Hope is the crack in the clouds and the week of sunshine that follows. It's the life that throbs into the veins of our city, the liberation that is indoor seating. Hope is bodies huddled on streets chanting in unison. It is handcrafted signs and DIY badges. It's the news cameras and the radio stations chasing systematic lies for the truth. It is the richness of melanin and the thickness of the spirit. Hope is walking hand in hand without fear and the public displays that boast affection. It is making it home safely after the bar or the support group. It is a ceremony lacking objection. Hope is the zip of a tent door and the sheet of cotton between your back and concrete. It's the porch of a bank or a clothing store. It's the bandstand in the park after 8 p.m. Hope is a stranger's smile and the pound shop sandwich gifted by nervous hands. Hope is surviving the crash of a wave onto a raft and the clatter onto shore as the sun beats down. It is the meeting at the community center and the first time you recognize the lilt of a stranger. Hope is a working radiator and a light switch that turns on. It is a night's sleep undisturbed by gunfire and explosion. Hope looks like the kindness in a father's eyes when his son comes out. Hope smells like the perfume on a friend's neck during a long embrace. Hope tastes like a cup of clean water after the village filter has been fitted. Hope sounds like the sizzle of a hot meal or the laughter in knowing that you are not eating alone. Hope feels like the first time you forget what happened and remember who you were before the pain. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic. Well done. I missed seeing you perform.
Sure, look.
It's been so long.
Another 2 years, we'll be all right.
2 years.
I've
okay.
hit my quota now for the last 24 months. So.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so what is Sasha obsessed with at this moment in time?
Oh my God. What am I obsessed with? So I wish I had something really deep and meaningful. I really don't.
No, we don't need deep and meaningful. We need actually just something.
I try and live a very shallow life because I noticed that like I'm the most mentally stable when my life is as shallow as it gets. No, that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. But what am I obsessed with? I'm trying to think. Okay, so I've kind of been watching TV, a lot of TV, which is bad, but like whatever. Like I don't watch TV, I read books, but like TV, right? There's a couple of shows. Tinder Swindler.
Let me I've heard about that one, yeah.
Chills down my spine. Watch it. Anybody out there? My enemies are after me. 100K as quick as possible. Thank you. Yeah, no, watch that. That's it's really interesting. And it's kind of mad to see what's in the mind of someone who is capable of doing crazy things. What else am I obsessed with? TV shows. Okay. I've been rewatching Pretty Little Liars. Is that really bad? And it's such an awful show. And like the outfits are hideous. Like I don't know who dressed them, but whoever dressed them shouldn't dress anyone again. But
clearly it's obviously an awesome show just from watching.
Oh my God, no, it's fantastic. Like it's some of the most bizarre things happen in 45 minutes. Like one almost dies, one is kidnapped. At one point, they open up the season where they're all trapped in a massive dollhouse underground. Like it doesn't make sense.
As you do.
And these are like 16-year-old girls, and nobody's asking questions. They're just like, oh, they're just having a sleepover. But that's kind of what. Oh, and Screw is very good. You should watch that. It's about prison guards inside of a British prison. It's scripted. It's fiction, but it's actually really, really good. It's really, really good. So
okay, that's loads to be getting on with.
It's all on Netflix.
Fabulous. Thanks, Sasha. Okay, we're going to move back over to what's going on here now. There we go. Back over to Luna Juniper. We got another tune for us. Before you do this one, tell me what you're obsessed with at the moment.
Oh, okay, we're obsessed with this band called Bobby and the Blunts.
Okay.
It's really good. You have to check it out.
They're actually they're going to be playing in Waterford in the summer. We're not sure exactly when yet. And they've played in Waterford before. They supported Backroad Smokers Club. But yeah, keep an eye out because they're going to be playing.
Bobby and the Blunts. We'll be checking them out. Okay. All right, take it away, Luna Juniper.
Whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, I saw you yesterday up in the sky, so far away. You moved a bit in my direction. It restored my lost connection. I had to stop and stare. The signals, they were everywhere. I'm telling me where to go now. I just want to know, won't you be my satellite, orbit my
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well done. Thanks so much, lads. And tell me, when are Luna Juniper hitting the studio to record Woman?
Oh, very soon, hopefully. Next Friday we have a session. And
Brilliant.
see how it
And the
goes.
same with Tari. It'll be a video. It'll be the whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll go all out.
Fabulous. Okay. So we can check out Luna Juniper on Facebook for that. Thank you so much, lads. Next up for our final reading tonight, we have... Wait, where do you go? There you go. We have David Toms. David Toms lives and works in Norway. Although I discovered not from Norway, as we'll find out when he starts to speak. His poetry has recently appeared in Firmament, Channel, Banshee, and more. His last book was Northly in 2019. And as you will hear, he is originally from Waterford.
Yes, I am. No doubt about it. Although it's funny because lots of people living here in Norway, of course, you can't really sound like you're from Waterford and get too far. So usually what happens is my accent gets nice and soft when I'm here, and then I go back home to Waterford for a few weeks and it becomes more and more Waterford. So we'll see, but being around the voices tonight might bring some of it out as well. Yeah, I'm actually gonna read from my book Northly, which came out in 2019. It was kind of unlucky, my book, in a way, because basically it came out right at the end of 2019, and we'd like planned stuff to do, and we were going to do all this cool stuff, and I was going to go to like Berlin to the Curious Fox and all this. Anyway, obviously didn't happen. But anyway, that's just how it is. So it's great that we get to do these things, and I'm going to just read a couple of poems from the book, and I'll start. It's my birthday this weekend, and I don't really do the whole like what's it called, a horoscope thing, but I'm kind of fascinated by all the same. So this is a poem called Pisces. I know, I'll just start reading. Wind fierce. It's about Vikings. That's all I'll say. So this is called Pisces. Wind fierce tonight, mane of the sea whipped white. Still I am unafraid. No ravening Northman courses through quiet waters. First, I clambered down through the stars. I was born on the cusp. I was apparently the final month sprung up, marking winter's end. I was ready to place my feet on deck, a fish inside a wooden fish hung with sails. I hewed the wood myself. The drawer of water poured out the oceans the day before I descended, filled the fjords, readied it for me to swim. Later, I made him cupbearer at my hall. In the morning, I put my feet in the water, a test of its temper. Along the cattle strand, I felt the sea surge as the stones clogged my feet. I stood looking horizon-wise and saw over the lip of this world ships from another. The stones were sucked back from my feet by the current. They went beneath the sea heather. Free-footed, I turned. I ran. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, that was actually I started with the wrong poem, which is just typical. But this is so this book basically moves through space, I guess, and it starts actually in Waterford. The first couple of poems are set in Waterford, more or less. So I'm gonna read this one now in Arseway's order. So this is called Family History. It's a true story. He drowned in the shore, squeezed between ship's hull and quayside, buried in a walnut coffin. A fine line between wood and water, wood and earth. On rocks I spot dark purple dillisk. We dry on yesterday's paper, peppered in pen. 5-1 each way winner at Wincanton. Between wood and water, wood, and earth. I can dig for periwinkles, turn up sand on the back strand to bring cockles home for boiling. Between wood and water, wood and earth, I have some knowledge of the sea, and it has known, fed, and filled me. A fine line between wood and water, wood and earth. Let's see, where's the next one I wanted to read. Just trying to decide which. Theo, I'll make it a little lighter just now. Anyway, so I live in Norway, and it took me a while to get my Norwegian language skills up to where I wanted. And one of the things about Norwegian is that there are 3 additional letters in the alphabet here, which are O, and E. And it took me a while to get my mouth around those. Anyway, so this is a poem about those 3 little letters. And they really change the meaning of words. So they don't just look cool. They actually have a function in the language. Language learning. Some days I still can't get my ers, ors, or as to fit my mouth, playing the piece with the embouchure of a novice. I end up with cheese when I wanted to go east. Yeah, I tell you, I'm going to finish with this poem. This poem called Stumblestone. It's a poem that is really important to me, actually. And Stumblestones, I don't know if some people may be familiar with them, some may not. In German, they're Stolperstein, and in Norwegian, they're Snublestein. But basically what they are basically little stones that are placed around cities all over Europe, showing where Jewish people had previously lived, who had then died in concentration camps. And it first began as a project in Cologne in 1992, and has kind of grown all over the world. Anyway, the first job I had in Norway, I worked in an Irish pub in Oslo, and there was a stumblestone right outside the pub, and I kind of started. It was my job usually on a Sunday to sweep all the faggots out in front of the pub, and so I started to notice this stumblestone anyway, and so this is the story of that particular one. I sweep away Saturday night the discarded cigarette butts and dried snus, housed last night in the guttons of drunk punters. They stumble into taxis or on foot to the T-Bana or the night bus going home. I sweep away ash and dirt outside Rådhusgata 28. Sunday morning, a name stares me in the face. Max Oster, cigarette roller, sign painter, stumbled as he was dragged from apartment to ship, ship to train, train to chamber. Thanks.
Wow, that's seriously powerful stuff, and I'd never heard of the Stumblestones.
Yeah, they're you'll be surprised, because I mean sometimes you'll notice them, and then when you start noticing them in cities in Europe, you'll notice them everywhere.
Right, yeah. Okay, and David, what are you obsessed with at this moment in time?
I am obsessed with 2 things in particular, which are certainly music things. One of them is this guy called Marlace, who is this singer, and I just think his music is amazing. He has far too few Spotify listeners as far as I'm concerned, and I think he's really class.
How do you spell his name?
Marlace, Marlais. I'll put a link into the chat thingamajig. And the other music thing I'm kind of obsessed with at the minute is Telefiche. I don't know if one of the people behind it is a guy who used to be in Micro Disney.
Oh yeah.
And I just think it's amazing music, and I just love it, and I think everybody should be listening to it, basically.
Yeah, I've never heard of them, but I remember Micro Disney. They were fab.
Yeah, no, Telefiche is like it's a brand new project, and they've only released maybe 3 or 4 songs. I assume they're building up to an album, but it's I think it's really, if you like electro and electronica and stuff like that, I think you really get a lot out of this. But
Brilliant.
yeah, I can definitely bang some links into the chat.
Yes, please
Thanks a
do.
million.
Please do, David.
Thanks for having
Okay,
me.
thanks, David. Oh, that is it for the readings, and we're going to finish with music, and we're going to go back to Aliens in Caves.
Hello, everyone. My friend just texted me saying I look like Enya, so my confidence has just plummeted. We're gonna continue.
Hang on now. Let's just say, if you whatever about your confidence, if you could have her money.
That is true. She is
So-
quite minted.
Yes.
I
So
wouldn't
let's
mind, I
let's
wouldn't
hold
mind.
on to that aspect of it at least.
I might change my career, become an Enya impersonator. I think that's the tunnel for me to go. So the song that I'll be playing to finish off the night is the fan favorite. It's called Weekdays. Just a friend here reminded that all the music is on Spotify, so you can listen. Shameless plug. So yeah, this is called Weekdays.
How's it going in the mirror? Looks like you've been getting slimmer and the weather seems okay. Love, it don't come out of the gutter. We're just meant to love each other and all of our perfect ways. All of our perfect ways. Da, da, da. Da 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 Monday morning, chilly Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday comes on rolling, and I'm so lucky, I'm in love with. Every time that we get closer, I'm like a curious child on a coaster. Thank the heavens because I'm so lucky. Ooh, baby, how's it going in the mirror? Looks like you've been getting slimmer and the weather seems okay. Love, it don't come out of the gutter. We're just meant to love each other and all of our perfect ways. All of our perfect ways. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. All of our perfect ways. Da, 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 da. Thursdays for chillin', Fridays for partying, Saturday, Sunday, I just can't believe you're lying right next to me. And my heart beats racing, 'cause it's you I'm facing in this magical and whimsical world of love, baby. How's it going in the mirror? Looks like you've been getting slimmer and the weather seems okay. Love, it don't come out of the gutter. We're just meant to love each other and all of our perfect ways. All of our perfect ways. Da, 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 all of our perfect ways. Da, 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. All of our perfect ways.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know if they still have things called charts, but that should be #1. Chart. That is amazing. That's just such a feel-good tune. That's fabulous. Thanks,
Thank you,
Sarah.
thank you.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you to everyone for the first of what will hopefully be many online versions of Subbacultcha. So as I said to Sasha there, it was so lovely to see her, but so lovely to see everyone. And you kind of forget, it's been so long since we've actually seen people do this kind of stuff. And I suppose this is it's kind of almost an excuse just to get in a group with a group of like-minded people and listen to them just be brilliant. So it's an excuse to put it out there and pretend that I want people to watch it as well. But like, I really just want to listen to you all. Yeah, so that's it. We will be back again next month with some more amazingly talented people. For tonight, thank you to the music of Luna Juniper, of Aliens, Devils, maybe, you never know, Aliens in Caves. Thank you to Molly Toomey, Demi Anter, Sasha Terfu, Patrick Holloway, and David Toms for reading for us. And this is me, Derek Flynn, saying goodbye, and thanks for watching.